Right. The mind. The mind is not you, but it is it's a program. But it's a program that's got too big for its boots. It thinks it runs everything, but it doesn't. And because the mind doesn't understand things, it causes havoc. So the mind will be thinking, oh, this is shit, I hate this, and that wreaks havoc in the body. Then it's anxiety, nervousness, depression. Or the other end of it is the other extreme, is where everything's brilliant, I'm having a great time, my life is fantastic. And then of course life happens and knocks you off your pedestal. And then the mind can't deal with what's just happened. Because the mind is not in charge. Never was, never will be. The mind is what you think is you. It's just a story. Now if you watch a film, it's just a film. It doesn't matter. The film might have deep esoteric meaning, or it might be a sentimental film or a historical film. It doesn't matter. It's still a fiction, a reenactment. It's an act. The ego, the mind, is an act. That's all it is. It's just an act. So when these great actors, are there any such things left? Who's a great actor? Who would I like as an actor? Christopher Walken, William Dafoe. There's not many, is there? Anyway, I digress. Oh yeah, there's a good one. What's his name? Joaquin Phoenix in the film Joker, where he plays the Joker. Does he become the Joker? Is he actually the Joker? Or, other examples, like Keanu Reeves when he plays John Wick. Is he really John Wick? So he goes out and he learns all these weapon skills, how to move with weapons, how to react. But so he's taking on that role, but it's just a role. So, and in the process of overcoming the mind, you'll recognize that your mind has been an act, but it didn't know it was an act. It thought it was in charge, and it would always get frustrated because it could never get what it wanted. And that would cause war in the kingdom. Fucking energies all over the place. And you've all experienced this. But when you overcome the mind and it becomes your servant, then you can control your kingdom. See, you can act if you choose to act, but you'll never lose sight that it's just an act. So you don't take yourself so seriously anymore. A day is a sentence, a month is a paragraph, a decade is a chapter. So it's just a story. Is it a good story? Is it a bad story? Who decides such things? Don't leave it up to your mind, because your mind will fuck that up too. You will be thinking, oh, I've been so bad, I've done this, I've done that wrong, and yeah, life's a great teacher. But there's an even better teacher, and that's within. And that teacher is consciousness, and consciousness is spirit. Now, I don't know if you've heard of this, but they used to have parties called Come As You Are parties. And you'd get a a knock on your door at some ridiculous time of the day, like 2 o'clock in the morning or something. You'd come down in your underpants, or you'd have a towel wrapped around you or something like that, and they'd say, there's a party, here's your invite, come as you are. So you stood there in your pants. So that is how you would attend the party. Now, you're being asked, okay, very gently to attend, and it's a come as you are party. You go in there poor. You don't go in there rich. In fact, if you go in there thinking you're rich, you don't get in. Because to be poor, I'm not talking about money, people. Fuck money. I'm talking about far greater things than money. To be poor is to recognize that something is missing. Okay? And to recognize that poverty is to try to change it. Okay, I'm talking about consciousness, or being aware of higher consciousness and becoming part of it. Because ultimately, the end state is to merge with it, is to be it. So, come as you are party. Who do you think you are? Remember, Jesus judges. That's your higher consciousness. Now, he judges those that he doesn't know. Just think about that for a moment. He judges those that he does not know. And the people that don't know him will say, "But Lord, Lord, didn't we do great works and miracles and all these wonders in your name?" And he says, "Get away from me. I don't know you." That's interesting. Now he offers simple instructions. Clean your house, go within. That's it. Love your neighbour. Seek first the kingdom of God. And it's inside you. It's not external to you. So when you're rooting around in the shit, which is the external world, you're missing the mark. Mark is the pineal gland. Sin is literally meaning missing the mark. That's why the number of man is 6. Because you'll raise the energy up to 6, but doesn't touch the mark, which is the pineal gland. And those that do that, don't do that, they are marked in the forehead because their light is not lit. Their light is out. And how deep is their darkness? And they're marked in the right hand. Not this. Not the right hand. It's the right hand of the brain. They haven't entered into her. She's a damsel in distress, waiting for the prince to rescue her. Now, I'm not talking about male or female. The damsel in distress, the whore of Babylon, that's your subconscious mind. And if she hasn't been entered by the prince, which is your higher consciousness, so how does the prince get in there to do that? Well, that's easy. You have got to get out of your way. You have to sacrifice something. You have to bring something to the altar. The story of Calvary, the place of the skull, that's what Calvary means. This is Calvary here. And there was some robbers And the Romans had prepared 3 crucifixes, and the robbers were going to get crucified. Now the robbers were particularly onerous characters, rapists, thieves, the worst of society from mankind's perspective. And there was one in the middle, and his name was Barabbas. And there was these 2 cohorts on the left and right. And the Jews were arguing about Jesus with Pontius Pilate. And they're saying, kill him! He thinks he's God! Kill him! And Pontius Pilate is, the Roman emperor, and he's sitting over this, and but I can't see that this man has done anything wrong. Then kill him. Let his blood be on our children. Interesting, isn't it? And Pilate was overwhelmed by it. Didn't understand. But he could see that the man had done no wrong. So he washed his hands of the matter. But to kill Jesus. Now, incidentally, it was the Jews that killed Jesus. But when you meditate and clean your house, you are the new Jew. A Jew is Yahuda, related to Yahweh, higher consciousness. So actually, you want to kill Jesus. You want to raise that sacred secretion up, burn it off, and you'll see the covenant between God and man, the intellect. And that covenant is the rainbow. Now in England, with the UK, there's rainbows everywhere. And when I drive out of a little town down the road, there's a sign and it says, thank you to the key warriors. You are angels amongst us. And I always chuckle to myself because I am meditating, I'm connecting to the unified field, I'm telling you people the truth, you individuals. And in turn, if you already are, in fact, when you meditate you are, you become a key worker, a key warrior, angels, messengers, because you'll receive and then you'll tell. Because when the truth's in there, you let it out. Because what's in will go out. Now, it isn't what goes into a man that defiles him, it's what goes out of a man. So is a man telling the truth, or is he not? Now, back to Barabbas. Barabbas is a Hebrew name, and it means son of the Father. Barabbas, son of the Father. Now, to crucify Jesus, they had to release one of the robbers. So they released Barabbas. Now Barabbas was the leader of the brigand. He was a fucking screaming scumbag. And he got released. Now think about this. The worst of the worst was set free. And Jesus was crucified. And it was the Jews that killed him. So you meditate, you've cleaned your house, you've raised the energy up, you understand the knowledge of good and evil. And that's not man's interpretation of good and evil. Raising the energy up is good. You are upright. Now the word for the upright pole, the crucifix, is actually stauros, and it means upright pole. And if you've moved the energy, your poles, you've had a pole shift. Your energy was in Sodom and Gomorrah. And now the energy is moved up here. You have had a pole shift. And now the pole is upright. It's no longer a mortal coil. It's extended itself. You have become upright. That's what it means. That is the definition of righteous. It's got nothing to do, right, with being nice in the eyes of other people. That's called virtue signaling. It's grotesque. Now, so Barabbas was set free, and the other two thieves were left on a cross. One believed, one did not. Duality. And they are symbolic of the eyes. These are the two thieves, because they steal from you. Because these eyes, although fantastic that they are, they only see in a particular range of the light spectrum. And the light spectrum is huge, and they only see a really small part of it. But the pineal gland sees it all. Nothing can hide from it, because the pineal gland, or what goes on in there, it is the light spectrum in its entirety. It makes it. The pineal gland is Jerusalem, the source from where all light flows. Yerushalayim, that's what it means. Okay? Now, so the sacrifices, the ram, the head, trapped in the thorny thicket, the crown of thorns, well, that's your mind. That's the story you tell yourself. The confused mess. You shift that energy, you burn that secretion off. There's no more confusion. Confusion is of Satan. Satan means opponent, the opponent of higher consciousness. It means confusion. The Hebrew word for confusion is Babel, the Tower of Babel. So we have millions, billions of human beings, and they're all confused by the lies of religion, politics, and all the other nonsense, all these collective stories. When the individuals come together and place a belief in something external to themselves. Pure babble. Now, one of the thieves believed, and Jesus said to him, "You will be in my Father's kingdom." So it isn't about being good in the eyes of men. Symbolically speaking, the character, the onerous character Barabbas, is symbolic of the ego being set free. So for all of you that are having your dark night of the soul, I've been a bad boy, or I've been a bad woman, or whatever, that gets set free, that gets taken off you. That's what they call grace, because all the energy now is moving, and all those pent up emotions, all those blockages, it just bursts forth, and the light within reveals itself, and then you love yourself. This is why the Apostle Paul said they become lovers of self. Didn't Jesus say, love your neighbour as you love yourself? Your neighbour is your ego, and yourself is your higher consciousness. Consciousness, it's an awareness. So when you were a baby and you were born, you were aware of the light on your eyes. Then you were hung upside down and smacked on the ass by the clever doctor. Welcome to the world. A smack on the ass and hung upside down. How prophetic. And they wonder why everything's fucked up. Fucking morons. They should be hung upside down and fucking slapped. Anyway, rant over. So that was one of your first shocking experiences in the world. You've got a brand new God between your ears, and your senses have come online. You can't see properly, but you can make things out. All babies have blue eyes. Born blue-eyed and then slapped because of it. And to add insult to injury, the rest of your life, they lie to you. And sadly, you've been lying to yourself. And the only way to get beyond those lies is to get straight to the truth. The world's a lie. It's a fucking lie. All of it. Now you can swim in an ocean of lies. Have fun with that. And you can appear to be so knowledgeable about various conspiracies with your other conspiracy friends, but all you're doing is playing with the lies. What about the lies within? What about clearing them out? Now, when the light of truth happens, and this is a real physical thing, it clears all the lies out, and then you have no taste for them anymore. I have zero reaction to lies. I just observe them, and because if I did react all the time, it would just be despair, and I don't want that in my house. But lies serve a purpose, because you'll get tired of looking at them. That shit will make you ill. I could do videos about COVID and all the rest of it, but I just don't want to talk about the lies. When you find the truth within, nothing else matters. It doesn't. So then you try and tell others. I try and tell people day to day, even if it's not just on YouTube. Tell people at work. Yeah. And more often than not, it's met with incredulity. I can't say that word. It's met with scoffing, ignorance, but you just got to keep chipping at it, because it might be just the one thing you say. When you meditate, it reveals itself to you. In Matthew 6:22, let thine eye be single, the pineal gland. And when thine eye is single, your body will fill with light. And it carries on, words to the effect of, but if your body is not full of light, it will be full of darkness. And how deep is that darkness? Now it's up to you, the individual, to find out how deep that darkness is. That's called seeking the kingdom of God. And you do that within, via meditation. And when you shut your eyes, you might notice that your field of vision is kind of like a rectangle, like a monolith. And you've got to keep looking in that until you find the light. But the light will find you as well. Middle, halfway. You might feel alone, but you're not. That's just the illusion. You're overcoming an illusion. The illusion of separation. Now you need to overcome that illusion of separation before it is no longer an illusion. Because when the light of the world leaves the world, it's not an illusion anymore. You're on your fucking own. And there is no light of consciousness guiding you, or humanity. Can you even begin to imagine the repercussions of that? How will that manifest in the world? Noah's Ark. You need to build an ark. And you pitch it on the inside and out. Now pitch is like a tar. And it waterproofs. No light can get in. In other words, you close your eyes. You put a window in the roof of your ark. That's your pineal gland. And you have 3 doors on 3 floors. That's your reptilian complex, your limbic system, and your neocortex. 3 parts of your brain. And then you bring the animals onto the ark, 2 by 2. To quote the song. That's duality. Good, the bad. You bring everything on board. It's your ark. You're building it. You're in it. Bring everything on board. All the animals. All the domestic animals. That's your day-to-day life. Your normal thoughts. Oh, I've got to do this. Oh, I've got to do that. Got to phone her. That's your domestic stuff. And you've got the fowls of the air. All these higher thoughts. Higher aspirations. Reaching for higher. And then you bring the creepy crawlies on board. All those dirty little thoughts you have. That everybody has. But you don't like to talk about it. Because society doesn't like it. But it does it anyway. The fucking hypocrisy of that. So what I've just told you is a come as you are pie. Like Kurt Cobain said, come as you are, as you please. And in his other song, there's something in the way. Yeah, that's the ego. As you're reading your book, because I hope you are, don't read it to understand it. You'll baffle yourself. Just read the fucking thing. Your subconscious mind will take it all in. And as you meditate, so will your higher self. And your higher self knows the truth because it is the truth. And it will show you. But, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, that's right. As you read Noah's Ark, who closed the door to the ark? Did Noah close it? Or did God close it? Now, when you're meditating, your brain goes into different wavelengths, and it will get to a certain point where it will close out the outside world, and then you merge with consciousness, the unified field. Your higher self does that. Your higher self is Jesus. I and the Father are one. And when you come out of the meditation, you might feel that more time has, or you'll see that more time has passed than you thought had. So it might feel like a 10-minute meditation, but actually it might have been an hour. Now one day you'll go into this meditation and you'll come out, and Barabbas, it doesn't exist anymore. He's ran off, he's free, he's over the hills, he's gone. You've set him free. So if Barabbas has been set free, who are you? Who have you become? Well, you've become God in the flesh. The apotheosis. Man becomes God. It's that simple. That's what it's about. And this is why Jesus said, you are gods. And he would say that to the religious people. You are gods. So what the fuck are you worshipping, you fucking morons? Jesus couldn't stand religion. He would mock them, ridicule them. He'd goad them. He couldn't fucking stand them. In the Bible, God makes a covenant with Abraham. Abraham is symbolic of your intellect, your ego. And he said, walk away from your father's house. So who is your father's house? It's not talking about your dad. It's talking about this place. And the father's house here on this physical plane is government, religion, politics, patriotism, social secular humanism, transhumanism, technocracy, and any other ism you can think of. Walk away from all that shit. That's outside you. You need to go within. You need to go inside. And when you're meditating, use your 5 senses, but turn them inwards. As time wears on, you'll feel better about yourself. All your anxiety, your stress, your worry will be taken away from you. So that's good in itself. Your thinking will become clearer. You'll spend less time thinking. You'll be doing things without thinking, because you'll know what to do without thinking, and then you'll realize that thinking is very overrated. But there are things to think about. But rather than think, contemplate, pontificate. But when thoughts come, don't judge them. Just let it go. When emotions come because of the thoughts, don't judge them. Just let it go. And in the end, it'll all quieten down. That's called walking on water. Jesus didn't do it to keep his hush puppies dry. Now, life can throw fastballs at you. And sometimes we can duck and dive, but life can be faster. And you can't always duck and dive fast enough, and that shit's going to catch you. And it's there for a reason. It's to test you. It's to teach you. And we need to respond, not react. The mind, the ego, always reacts, but we need to respond. And we need to measure our response. Do we respond or not? There's a thing called the 7 Ps. I learnt this in the army. It's very appropriate. The 7 Ps. Prior planning and preparation prevents piss poor performance. Meditation is prior planning and preparation, and it prevents piss poor performance. So, this is what I've learned. If I want to have a stress-free day walking on water, then I need to meditate early in the morning. Because it's like having a glimpse into the future. Because things will happen during that day, and you'll intuitively have the right answer. You'll say the right thing. Because during your meditation in the morning, that day has been offered to you prior to it happening, because consciousness is outside the realms of time and space. So it prepares you for that day. Give us this day our daily bread. Your brain looks like a loaf of bread, does it not? So give us our day. And then you go into your day. Now you're still going to get tested. That's okay. That's life. That's cool. There's going to be things you like and dislike, but that's going to be the mind judging as usual. But meditation is key. Those of you that are struggling with things like alcohol, if you meditate, that shit will be taken off you. Alcohol destroys your consciousness. You are turning your own light out. So that needs to go. Drug use, same thing. The use of drugs is gate crashing higher consciousness. I had an email about it. But it might change you. You might have a different perspective. But try getting back in there without it. Can't, can you? Now read up on the parable of the uninvited guest. Went to a feast, wasn't dressed correctly. In other words, his house wasn't clean. And then he got his ass kicked out, and there was wailing and gnashing of teeth. The drugs wore off, and higher consciousness threw him out. Drugs are not the way ahead. I'll perhaps do another video on that actually, just to give it a bit more depth. Meditation, people. 7 Ps. prior planning and preparation prevents piss poor performance. Look after yourselves. Have a good day.